you guys probably have heard about it in more so in terms of like murder mysteries and like kidnappings and stuff, is there's fight, there's fight, there's flight, there's freeze, and there's fawn. So what happens with fawn is that basically people will give up themselves to appease a potential source of threat, whether it's obviously an extreme case, it's like a kidnapper, right? Otherwise, day to day, it's your boyfriend, your friend, your boss, your mom, whatever. They give up their own values, their own selves to appease another person that is generally giving them a source of threat, whether they are or not, they are perceiving that there is threat. And what happens is them fawning, oops, sorry, I've clicked something on my keyboard. Them fawning, right? Them changing themselves is an attempt to avoid conflict. Now, this, when we talk about trauma, separate to like murders and kidnappings and all those kind of things, you guys have heard Stockholm syndrome. It's literally the same thing, right? So what happens is, though, in terms of more of like, let's say a realistic situation where most of us are going to have done this in some way, shape, or form in our life. Fawning happens when in childhood, a traumatic event has happened, whether it is a big traumatic event or whether it's small. It's about how we perceived it as a kid. And let's just go into our kid mind. So we perceived it as a kid as something really, really bad and dangerous. And what happens is that as a kid, we will learn to fawn to avoid any further conflict. Whether the conflict is physical violence, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, whether it's literally just the feeling of rejection, whether it's the feeling of I've done something wrong, whatever it is, they want to avoid feeling that feeling again. The child, you, right, is basically trying to keep their, let's say, caregiver, mom, dad, biological mom, dad, or whether it's adoptive or whether it's some other caregiver, trying to keep them happy so that they can stay safe, so that the kid can stay safe, so that the mom, the dad, whoever it is, cannot go into an explosive state or cannot shut them down or make them feel wrong again or whatever it is. I do want you guys to remember that trauma is a scale. And this relates to everybody. So for some of you, it's going to be, I did that to stop my mom or my dad getting abusive. For some of you, it's, I did that to stop feeling like I was the wrong sibling, right? Or to stop feeling rejected by dad. That's why I did that, for example. Or to stop feeling like I was being left out of groups in school, whatever the situation is, right? That will be the fawning. Because don't forget, you can fawn over people your same age. It's just about you trying to essentially not be rejected, hurt, whatever. Like, just think about those kind of feelings where it's going to elicit a response of, I don't feel safe. You are trying to avoid, as a kid or a teenager or an adult, those feelings coming up in your body. Okay. So that is basically people pleasing in a nutshell and really understanding the trauma behind it.